Hey everybody, how's it going? We are here with a timeless reading. All right, first card we have out is the Five of Swords. Seeing the Five of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Five of Swords and Two of Swords, you may need to think of yourself here with something that you're doing or figuring out. I'm seeing the Death card, I'm seeing the Lovers. Yeah. So Five of Swords can sometimes be us needing to check into a space where we need to like put ourselves first and think about what we need. Meaning sometimes we're like putting everybody else's needs ahead of our own, or like only thinking about other people and then like not thinking about ourselves. And so this can be like bringing something back into balance that maybe wasn't in balance, because I was seeing the Justice card on the bottom of the deck. So this is about like integrating more of a balanced approach. It looks like this might have to do with a relationship that you're involved in. I'm seeing the Death card and I'm seeing the Lovers. And so this can mean potentially this would lead to a very big change between you and another person. But you may have like feelings coming up about you making this decision. Could even be like judging yourself a little bit for it. I feel like there's something unpleasant that you're holding on to, but you would have your reasons for holding on to this, but it's like not making you happy to hold on to it. So maybe recognizing that that's a choice here. There can also be a relationship that's attached to this, that you could be at a point where maybe part of you feels unwilling to let it go, but then another part of you is like, if it was meant to be, would I be squeezing this tightly? Five of Swords can also be being around somebody where you're like, is this really worth it? Like holding on to this relationship. But I'm seeing there be hesitance to loosen your grip. One thing that I'm seeing to be aware of is that if you're starting to feel resentment within a relationship, which it feels like something may be building up and showing up like that for you, if you don't want to hold on to it, there may be a change that needs to be initiated here. But change can happen in many different ways. This is also reminding yourself that you have the power to make the decision that you want to. Having these two energies come out, it's a reminder that you don't need to hold on to things so tightly, because you'll be able to attract what you need to attract and what's like genuinely meant for you. But having this, it can be holding on to things that aren't like so much aligned anymore, because we have a fear of like, what if I can't attract the right things in, so I'll just like compromise and hold on to this. This is about going into a change confidently and knowing that you're not going to lose anything that you're meant to have. Like if something is meant to be, it's going to be. And And there's nothing that can take that away nor destroy that. Four of Pentacles and Queen of Wands can also be holding on to something that's giving you like a false sense of confidence as well, but you may not have necessarily been seeing it like that. It's something where we almost feel like we can't be confident on our own, and so we may be holding on to something else because that's the work that we need to do, which it seems like that's what you're looking into now. I almost feel like you're having a realization of like, oh, I don't need to worry about that, or oh, I don't need to hold on to that so tightly. Specifically has to do with a relationship that you're involved in. This can also be about standing up for yourself too. Because Queen of Wands is you being in an energy where you're not going to let somebody treat you in a way that you don't want to be treated. But it goes so far beyond that. When we have the Five of Swords come up, it can mean that we're like doing something that we're not actually okay with, or that we're allowing something that we're not actually okay with. And you can feel that coming up. Like the way that you'll notice this is when you start feeling like anger towards somebody, or like resentment towards somebody, or you're starting to feel really like critical of them, or they just are getting on your last nerve all the time. And it's like that intense focus where like something needs to change, and the change is like being asked to be birthed through you, but you could be looking at the other person and being like, you need to change, you need to be different. And so there can be this focus on something outside of ourselves, when really, like, if we were right with ourselves, we wouldn't be feeling that in the first place. But it can be something where we're trying to prove a point here even. I don't think that this was something you necessarily realized before, but I'm getting you be in a spot where you're looking into it. And so I feel like there's a realization now at this point. I'm seeing Scorpio and Gemini and Virgo here. Could have also been really calculating your moves rather than acting naturally. I'm feeling a new energy that you're going to be stepping into. Okay. Sun, the Fool, the Knight of Cups, the Empress. I feel like you're going to take a chance with something. You're going to be communicating how you feel with this person. Or at least thinking about that. Could be thinking about what you want to say. This can also be a notion of sort of like, you know, you want something to change, or that something needs to change, and you're figuring out like what exactly that is, or what exactly that looks like. But I'm getting you I'm finding you in a spot where you don't want to be holding on to this anymore, and you want to be able to let it go. And this feels very much like a disposition or an attitude where you're like, oh, like I don't want to be within this energy anymore. And so like a 5 with this 5 of Swords, it means something needs to change. But having this 4 of Pentacles, it's like you're holding on to this for a reason, but looking into the reasoning can tell you what you need to know. And it seems like that's being realized here. And then I'm seeing like a choice that needs to be made, or something that needs to be determined. And your guides are like, just be confident, trust yourself. This is about remembering your resilience and your independence. and not to compromise on things that you don't want to be compromising on, or doing things that you don't want to be doing, or accepting things that you don't want to accept, and taking a chance on yourself. Even if this means that it's going to be creating some type of change, but I'm getting you'd want the change anyway, which seems like that's what this is leading into. But maybe you're doing something that's like not what you would normally do. Having the Queen of Wands and the Fool, this can be showing up in a different way where you're like, I like the way that this fits better, or I like showing up in this way instead. But it may be like a bit different than your norm, or like, I don't normally do this, I don't usually do this, but it's something that feels genuine to you. It feels more like yourself than maybe what you had been doing before, because you could have been doing something where you were like maybe people pleasing or something like that. But then having the Queen of Wands come out, it's like doing things for you and what you need. Having the Death card and having Judgment, this can be looking into like, if I do that, what's going to change? And also thinking about what exactly, Knight of Cups to the Lovers, you want to communicate with this person from a genuine space. So this means not just like dumping on them, meaning you're not taking care of the stuff that you need to at home with you and you. This means you're like working through this stuff and figuring out like, what's the productive thing to say to this person? How do I get like a concentrated message of communication to them and like stay on point with them and like communicate just what I want to communicate so it translates as best as it can. And it seems like you also may be sort of like rethinking or reimagining how you want to be showing up within the relationship too. I feel like some moving around and shifting is going to be happening. What I'm also seeing is that we start with the Five of Swords, which is you being in a spot where there's like a desire for things to be different than they are, and also change something, especially mentally. The change in the environment may also allow for you to move into a different space mentally as well. It's like change that's happening internally and then it's translating externally with you and this person. It's like as your relationship is changing with yourself, that's then like permeating into your relationship with this person. So you go from this, which can be like somebody not feeling empowered, because this is somebody feeling like they need to assert themselves in some way because they're not feeling heard, or they're doing something that's like crossing a boundary of theirs, or they're allowing something that they're not okay with, something like this, where there's like this like sort of fight for power or something in some way, or like I need to put myself up here so I can look down on you, like that sort of thing. But it's really because we're feeling that towards ourselves and something that we need to work out. And then we end with the Empress, so that's like being in a completely different energy, but this is based off of the changes that we need to make because this is a 5. So it's like unless changes are initiated or enacted, you're not going to get to this space. So that's why this is so important. And it seems like it begins with you shifting the framework around to figure out, again, like why you would be holding on to something that doesn't feel like a pleasant experience for you. Like what's going on within your belief system that you feel like that's necessary or better than the alternative. And that's going to be the place to start here, okay? So we're looking at Scorpio, Gemini, Virgo, the Sun, Uranus, Pluto, and Venus. All right, my friends, we're going to leave the reading here. I'd like to thank everybody for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.